right, Democrats about to have food stamps blow up in their faces. Let's check it out. And welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. We're told that on Saturday, funding for SNAP will fully dry up, with the government now closed for a full month. So the next few days are going to be very interesting. Republicans are still offering their clean continuing resolution, which would fund food stamps, SNAP, and avoid a pending disaster for 42 million of the Democrats' best voters. But Democrats have shut down the government to try and force the American taxpayer to continue subsidizing the failed health care legacy of Barack Obama. Obamacare is a dead dog, as we all know. Democrats are demanding the American worker continue to subsidize the health care of Americans making as much as $500,000 a year in order to keep Obama's legacy achievement alive. Republicans point out it's been 4 years since COVID ended. That ridiculous Obamacare subsidy has got to end, and it has to end now. Democrats are now realizing that continuing this fight with the government closed to try and save Obamacare might lead to anarchy in this country, as we appear to be on the precipice of a looting spectacle worse even than George Floyd's Summer of Love. Take a look.
I just learned that I don't get to eat this month. I don't get my food stamps this month because a mother in the White House, an orange mother in the White House, wants a ballroom. I need my food stamps. I need my food stamps or something's gonna happen.
When are we gonna start looting the stores? Because I was stealing before. Now it's full-blown theft. Because what the you mean no food stamps?
Y'all was clutching y'all purses before. This gonna be the time that you need to clutch them. Y'all was doing that all that long time.
More y'all should have started taking from the corporations a long time ago. Y'all just didn't have that on your bones. Get out there and get in the feel like I told you.
So it's hard to explain how viral all of this has gone in the last few days, but it appears a large contingent of SNAP recipients are almost excited to loot this weekend. Grocery stores, Walmarts, anything they can get their hands on, 7-Elevens, whatever it is. This has exploded on social media, and it's putting Democrats in a very tough spot. For starters, their plan to blame all of this, the shutdown, on Republicans has totally backfired. Republican polling has gone up this past month. Nobody is buying the Democrat narrative on this shutdown. Today, Chuck Schumer got very heated as he tried to explain that Trump and Republicans can save SNAP all by itself without even reopening the government.
The bottom line is they can fund it just as in 2019, just as in other shutdowns, for a long period of time.
Yes, that's true. Republicans could just save the day and save SNAP without reopening the government. Okay, Chuck, that's a fair point. But at the same time, it's also very true that Democrats can simply reopen the entire government any time that they want, not just saving SNAP, but saving federal workers getting paid and all of the pain of having this government shutdown that people in Washington are so concerned about. Republicans have voted to do that 13 times. They've all come together and voted. They just need a handful of Democrats to come along with them, and they can't get that because the Democrat Party sticks together. They coalesce. Democrats refusing. And they're making a critical mistake as they refuse, because a few of them have gone on television and fully admitted that they are risking the SNAP benefits of their core voter base. The people in that first montage that we showed you, that's their core voter base. They are risking SNAP benefits for those people simply as leverage, as I said, to save Obamacare.
Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. And although a very unpleasant tool to use, it's gotten us focused.
Of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. But it is one of the few leverage times we have.
Why are working families the leverage the Democrats need to get Obamacare fixed?
It's the only lever we have.
The only lever we have. So how's it going to play on Saturday when it runs out, when SNAP runs out and the looting starts? There's no way this shutdown can reach the weekend, is what I think we're figuring out now. It just can't. It's going to end before the weekend because they can't let that happen. Trump is such a killer, he's not going to allow Republicans to let Chuck Schumer save face on this either. Schumer is really in a tough spot now. Trump is going to force Schumer to fully capitulate and get absolutely nothing for this shutdown. Schumer will have closed the government for 30 days and not gotten a single thing in return. It will be probably the end of his power and his political career. And how embarrassing that is. Almost as embarrassing as the realities of the program itself, fully exposed by this shutdown. SNAP is a horrible vice that Democrats have used for a very long time to control their core voter base, which are poor inner city residents. For years, their mission has been to grow the welfare rolls as much as possible. If you are dependent on government for food or housing, you are a dependable Democrat vote. Operatives harvest millions of votes from these people every couple of years, and the reason the borders were open for 4 years was to expand those welfare rolls even further. Last night we showed you 54% of immigrant families in this country are on some form of welfare. It looks like that number is closer to 90% when you isolate immigrants that have come to us from the continent of Africa.
Exploring all options, African Immigrant Family Services says that more than 90% of the families they help rely on food assistance.
90% of the families they help are reliant on food assistance. That is terrifying. Obviously, the number of the full scale of it is lower, but some of these numbers of some of the nations that we've seen are 60, 70% of immigrants we brought into this country are on the dole in some capacity. That's the point. That's the reason the border was open. That's the reason so much immigration into this country, because that is how at least one party in this country looks to get full control of the country. Dependency. They can have full control of anything. If you're feeding everybody, if people are counting on you for food and housing, you have unlimited power. And that's the point. And most of the people that are on this dole are able-bodied. That's the one thing that they don't want you to know as you pay for their food, as you pay for their housing. There are not 42 million people in this country that just can't work and need our food to survive. There is not even close to that many people in this country. Watch this asylum seeker from Iraq in front of his local city council. Take a look.
Without the government support, I cannot stay maybe a month or 2 months.
Can only stay a month or 2 months without government support. He says that standing upright, a 50-year-old man. Why can't you stay without food stamps? You speak English. You're clearly able-bodied. You had the energy to go down and complain at the city council meeting. Why are you not at work? You could find that man 3 jobs by the end of the day in this economy. Uber right off the bat. 2 seconds. Construction job, easy to get. Why are you paying for him and very likely his large family to eat? Thousands of dollars a month. Why are you paying for that? And for that matter, why are people who weigh 300 pounds on SNAP? Is there no weight limit for a free food program in this country? Are you kidding me? Free food? You shouldn't be allowed to get food stamps if you're dramatically overweight. In what universe do morbidly obese people get to pretend that they need taxpayer-funded meals? It's obvious so many of the people that are complaining right now need to eat dramatically less if they want to live much longer. A perfect diet plan would be no more EBT cards. And the truth is, this is all a scam, is what it is. Millions of people collecting these benefits don't even use them for what they are designed to be used for. They already have money for food. They get way too much money from SNAP for food. They sell off most of their benefits for things like hair, nails, car payment, etc., as shown here.
You know how many people I've seen sell food stamps to get their hair done, nails done, their toes done, buy an outfit to go to the club, drugs? A lot. If I've seen it, other people seen it. You know what? That's why people don't give two.
Y'all are really outraged because now you're going to have to take the money you normally buy weed, wigs, bundles, get your nails done, Y'all gonna have to take those funds and buy food now. And don't say I'm lying, because when y'all were receiving food stamps, you were selling the food stamps. So you weren't worried about feeding your children then.
The illusion of food insecurity in America. How many times have you heard that phrase used by the Democrat Party? And the truth is, for the most part, it doesn't even exist. This is a very rich country. There are food banks everywhere. There's free food being thrown around this country in places you wouldn't even believe. All over the place. You walk in a lot of places and get a free meal anytime you want, and a free bed for that matter. Food insecurity. It doesn't exist. Again, these are all the manipulations they've created to make sure that these programs continue, because that's how they that's their core base of voters right there. They send them into housing projects. You come out with thousands of votes. Boom. This is how they keep this system going. This is how the Democrat Party keeps the government big. Do you know your government allows people to use EBT cards, food stamps, for DoorDash? DoorDash is that little app that lets you get your $12 hamburger delivered to your house, and then after all the fees and tip, it goes up to like $39. Yes, people on food stamps can do this. You can DoorDash your food to your housing project, and a lot of people do it. So you're paying for that. You're not just paying for the $12 burger, you're paying for the $20 for the driver to come, the tip for the driver. And these people are telling you that they're food insecure and that they won't eat if they don't get their food stamps. This is one of the most effective Democrat grifts in this country, and they will fight to the death to protect it and expand those roles to be as large as possible.
We're now heading into a SNAP crisis. That is a man-made Republican crisis, because Donald Trump has decided that he wants to force millions of Americans, including possibly 16 million children, to experience hunger.
Lies. Just his base, just his voter base. All he cares about is power. Doesn't care about any of these people. Just power. They've stolen their souls and replaced them with a little, here's your little $2,000 a month. Don't get a job, don't have a life, don't have value in this world. Just sit there, keep taking my money, vote for me. We're going to send somebody to your house every 2 years, vote for me. How evil is that? That's the truth. But there are some good ones out there, able-bodied Americans with enough pride to not waste away their lives on the dole, like this guy right here.
I'm just going to say it, and I don't care who get mad. Should no grown-ass, able-bodied people be freaking out about no food stamps? If you got 2 legs, 2 arms, you can get up and talk on the phone, you can get up and take your behind to work.
All right, Senator Ted Cruz joins us tonight with more on this. Sir, good to have you back on. I guess one major upside to this shutdown is that millions of Americans right now are seeing just the size and scale of the scam that is the SNAP program in this country. 17 million in 2000 were on this program, 43 million today. 1 in 8 Americans are on it. More than half of our immigrant population is on some form of welfare. The dole is now loaded with able-bodied people who are laying around collecting free goodies from this government, and I'm glad a lot of people are seeing it.
Well, unfortunately, that was a major agenda item for the Biden administration and for Democrats, is that they want as many people as possible dependent on the federal government, and they also, in particular, the open borders they had for 4 years. Over 12 million illegal aliens came into this country, and they allowed this country to be invaded. They released violent criminals and murderers and rapists and gang members, and every single day Americans were being killed, women were being raped, children were being assaulted by criminal illegal aliens that Joe Biden and the Democrats had released, and a very large percentage of those illegal immigrants ended up also on government welfare, and it was ultimately about power. They looked at every one of those illegals as a future Democrat, and so the massive expansion of these programs sadly was by design and was pursuant to their political agenda.
That's exactly why the borders were open, because you're going to bring in a lot of people that are going to need something from the government, and they'll always vote for more government, and that party is the Democrat Party. This was simply a power move. It's treasonous. It's one of the most horrible things you can possibly do to a country, but that shows you a lot about the Democrat Party and how much they really care about the health of the country. There's a lot of videos talking about how many recipients are just selling their EBT cards to pay for nails, to pay for hair, et cetera. There's a lot of these viral videos going around, and there's a lot of people calling it out, saying, I know people that are on this. They take the money from the government, they sell it so they can get all the other goodies. What amount of fraud do you think is in this program?
Yeah, look, I think there's very significant fraud, and every time Congress tries to address it, tries to put in checks to prevent fraud, to catch fraud, the Democrats fight tooth and nail. The only reasonable inference from that is the Democrats want fraud. They're perfectly happy. They'd be happy with 42 million becoming 60 million, become 80 million, becoming $100 million, or 100 million people. Why? Because it's, as you noted, everyone they can make dependent on the government. The Democrats believe those voters will vote for Democrats and more government forever. And everything for today's Democrats is secondary to staying in political power.
Real quick, do you think the government will reopen before SNAP runs out? Because right now, if you look at the way that Americans see this thing, Democrats can't let themselves be the reason that their welfare voters can't get their goodies this weekend. And right now, that's the way the American people see it. If Republican polling is going up, I feel like Democrats have got to capitulate before Saturday.
Yeah, I got to say, I'll be surprised if they do capitulate before Saturday. And we're so divided, we're so tribalized that each party is in their own echo chamber. And I think the Democrats are listening to their radical base. They're listening to their crazies that were out at the No Kings rallies. Yeah. And so I think at a very minimum, the Democrats are going to keep this shutdown going through Election Day next Tuesday. There's a gubernatorial election in Virginia, a gubernatorial election in New Jersey. And I think the Democrats at a minimum want to get through Election Day. We might see the shutdown end next week. They might keep it going on even longer because they're only listening to the radical base and not their own constituents who they're hurting with the shutdown.
Got two more questions for you. They got to be quick because I'm running out of time, but I want to get your answer on both of them. The Court of Appeals striking down this Illinois judge Sarah Ellis's order mandating that the Border Patrol, one of the top guys of the Border Patrol, Greg Bovino, appear in her court daily. They have finally struck down. This was the most egregious example of lawfare I have ever seen. Bovino had to go to her court every day simply because he tried to repel people throwing rocks at him.
Yeah, look. There are radical judges across this country, mostly put on the bench by either Joe Biden or Barack Obama, who are waging war on President Trump and the Trump agenda. And we've seen nationwide injunctions. Thankfully, the Supreme Court reined that in. And you see single judges trying to subvert the president's policies and the agenda that the American people voted for. And it's a complete abuse of power. And so I'm glad her decision got overturned.
I want to ask you about Arctic frost. We had an update today on this investigation, much more far-reaching than initially understood, as the DOJ was looking into senators, spying on senators. More than 160 Republicans and Trump-aligned figures were targeted in search of crimes wrapped around the election in January 6th. You were one of those. Chuck Grassley earlier. Take a listen.
I've recently been informed by Verizon that at least 11 members with Verizon accounts were affected. That includes a hard line for Senator Cruz's office and a staffer's cell phone for former Senator Loeffler.
So they tried to subpoena Verizon to tap the office phone in your office?
Well, to get the phone records, and they also subpoenaed AT&T to get my cell phone records. And I'll tell you, AT&T did the right thing. They refused to comply with the subpoena. Their legal counsel concluded that it was protected by the speech and debate clause of the Constitution. But you know, one of the things that is amazing, along with that subpoena they sent to AT&T, they also included an order from Judge Boasberg, who's one of these left-wing radical judges who's issuing nationwide injunctions. Judge Boasberg ordered AT&T, do not tell Cruz we are subpoenaing his cell phone records. Why? And he makes a conclusion. He says, because I conclude if he's informed, Cruz will destroy or tamper with evidence and intimidate witnesses. That is utterly without factual basis. It is a complete abuse of judicial power. And I've called on the House of Representatives to impeach Judge Boasberg. The Constitution, when Judge Boasberg decided to become a partisan warrior and be part of the most egregious abuse of power, this is Joe Biden's Watergate. And I believe the House should impeach Judge Boasberg. And I also think we are going to get to the bottom of every partisan who signed off on surveilling and spying on 20% of the Republicans in the Senate. That's what Joe Biden and their DOJ did.
It's wild, these judges. Senator Ted Cruz, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Rob.
The president eyes regime change in Venezuela as he continues to clobber these cartel boats. Senator Rand Paul, we're going to have a very interesting discussion with him about all this up next.
At Interactive Brokers, independent RIAs work with the best research and trading tools designed to help them outperform the markets. Meet them at Interactive Brokers Investors Marketplace for advisors. Advisors at Interactive Brokers keep all they earn on our low-cost platform, with no ticket fees or custody charges, low margin rates, and high interest earned on idle cash. To get better results, get a better platform. The best informed investors choose Interactive Brokers.
I lost 110 pounds. You couldn't tell at all because of my excess skin. Sono Bello changed that in one visit.
Introducing the new Lift EX, the just one visit total body transformation everyone is talking about.
I am super happy with my results.
I decided to give Sono Bello a try. Look at me, I have a silhouette. You can see my waist.
Lift EX is Sono Bello's breakthrough 360-degree body lift alternative. Our body contouring experts sculpt, tighten, and lift your stomach, waist, thighs, and backside, all in just one visit with less downtime.
Sono Bello targeted the areas diet and exercise could not do. I found me again.
Sono Bello has over 50,000 five-star reviews, and Lift EX is exclusively available at Sono Bello, America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist. Book your free, personalized consultation today. Easy monthly plans make your best body more affordable than ever.
This year is my year thanks to Sono Bello.
Call Sono Bello for your free consultation today.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to f around with the United States.
If I was Maduro, I'd head to Russia or China right now.
Because?
His days are numbered.
Not war, not war, not war. Just peace, just peace, just peace, forever, forever, forever. Peace forever.
Big statement there from Rick Scott, who's a close ally of the president, telling Maduro, you better get out. Your days are numbered. Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro's days do appear to be numbered as the Trump administration pumps up our military presence off the coast of Venezuela, deploying the Navy's most advanced aircraft carrier to the region, the USS Gerald Ford. Reporting indicates that Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Machado, capitalist who recently won the Nobel Peace Prize and dedicated it to President Trump, the Freedom candidate, has been collaborating with the Trump administration on a plan for the first 100 hours of a transition if Maduro is ousted or killed or flees the country. So this is a really interesting moment, right? There's criticism, though, that an American-led regime change, which is what this looks like, in Venezuela is not America first at all, as we hear indications that this idea came from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, the son of Cuban refugees. If Venezuela's communist government falls, Cuba's regime would likely fall as well, as it's largely propped up by Maduro and Venezuela. But Trump voters are very wary of these experiments. After all, it was Trump that voiced so much criticism in the past of Iraq and Afghanistan. With 4 more narco cartel boats destroyed this week, Senator Rand Paul calls these strikes akin to what China or Iran does to drug dealers. And the senator joins us now to talk more about all this. It's good to have you back on. I kind of like them blowing up drug boats. I think they're pretty sure what they got and what they're doing here. And I think, you know, anything that can stop the tens of thousands of Americans that are dying every year, it's a message. And I know that you're going to say a lot of the fentanyl's not coming out of Venezuela, but I also think it's a message worldwide that we're going to cut down on drugs and all this nonsense. Talk about that and also talk about what we're doing in Venezuela and your thoughts on it.
Well, you know, our normal way that we interdict drugs is that we board ships and we find out if they have drugs on them. It's interesting that as the boats have been exploded and as we've used this deadly force, when there are survivors, we don't try them for drug crimes or we don't even keep them. We've been sending them back. So we repatriated last week somebody to Colombia and somebody to Ecuador. So you would think that when there are survivors that they would be tried for a drug crime. You would think we would be hearing evidence that they're collecting drugs that are floating around in the water afterwards. You'd think we'd hear evidence that the people were armed. So we don't know their names. We have no evidence of who they are other than an accusation that they are drug dealers. But we also, in our country, haven't typically just killed people because we accuse them of being a drug dealer. Even convicted drug dealers are usually not given the death penalty. So there's a lot here that it's easy to be angry with people. But if we get rid of the idea of presumption of innocence and we're just going to blow up people on boats with a 25% potential error rate, I think yes, I have problems with that.
And I can certainly understand that. I think if you want to be a pragmatist and you're not concerned with, all of the I think American ideals of due process and things like that, we have a serious drug problem on this continent, and a lot of people die from drugs. So this would be a way to really kind of clamp down on it. It might not be too traditionally American in its form, but I also think that what they're doing with these drugs, I don't think that this is really about the drugs. I think that this is kind of a way for them that they're trying to kind of. They're pressing something with Venezuela, with Colombia, with these leftist states in South America, and I think there's a reason for that. I want to know why you think, why are we trying to clearly destabilize Venezuela and push Maduro out? What do you think the plan is? Do you think it's Rubio just wanting to get communism out of South America?
Maybe. And of course, I have no love lost for Maduro, communism, or socialism. I wrote a book called The Case Against Socialism. And in it, we open with a chapter about a girl who runs a gang in Venezuela, and her gang controls 4 dumpsters outside of restaurants because there's such a dearth of food that people are scrounging, eating their pets, eating rats, eating remnants of food. This is an example of how socialism doesn't work and will ultimately fail. And I wish the best for the people there. I have not been for offensive war. I have not been for fighting wars unless we're attacked. President Trump has largely agreed with me. He opposed the Iraq war, as did I. He opposed the continuation of the Afghan war, as did I. He opposed the regime change of Gaddafi that led to even more chaos. So it isn't always clear what comes after. There is the potential that what comes after isn't freedom and constitutional liberty, but maybe what comes after is chaos.
And that's when this first started, I was very wary of this initially, and it was one of those things where I didn't really like kind of what we were doing. The more I kind of looked into the possible motives of this, and you look at the creep of China into South and Central America, we remember what the Panama Canal thing, and the president just brought that up and kind of opened people's eyes to the fact that China is moving its claws into the continent just to our south. Undeniably, it would be a massive benefit to this country to have a capitalist-friendly Venezuela. And as we know, Maduro was crushed in that last election. He just didn't leave. He just stayed in power. And I think it's a lot different if you're going to try and do a regime change and you've got a willing candidate right there and the military goes along with it. I think it's a little different than trying to install democracy in the Middle East where nobody really wants it. And you got Venezuela that has this massive oil reserve. They have gold, they have rare earths, and China's got their fingers all around them, and Russia too. And it's kind of like this evil element to our south that doesn't have to be that way. I mean, it's not very America first, but it has a huge upside, doesn't it?
Well, I wish the best for the people of Venezuela. I wish them freedom. I wish them constitutional liberty like we have. But I think that typically when it's successful, people have to fight for and achieve their own freedom. We fought for and achieved our freedom. But I don't think that necessarily, look, we tried in Afghanistan sort of to give them this. Women went to school again. Girls were in school. These were all good things. Yeah. And within days or within hours of us leaving, they reverted to the Stone Age. They chose to put the women aside. They chose to cover the women. They chose to kick the women out of the schools. People have to want it themselves. We can't come in and give people things. They have to want it themselves. Is
it different when it's a country that voted 70% for freedom and to get away from communism? And is it different when it's a sophisticated country? I mean, Venezuela used to be one of the richest countries in the world. It's not like Afghanistan. I think there's a little different thing at play here that I think could make this successful.
Well, some people will argue they're for regime change some of the time. I'm for regime change none of the time. And so people can pick and choose and say, oh, this is a better time, it'll turn out. But really, you don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know what the end result will be. We don't know if it'll be better or worse than what you currently have. And so we'll have to see. But the other thing we need to be careful about here is that this whole presumption, even on the idea of the drugs, People need to know there is no evidence that any fentanyl, any at all, comes from Venezuela.
Yeah.
Zero fentanyl comes from Venezuela.
I agree.
They are part of the cocaine traffic, about 10% of the worldwide cocaine traffic. People also need to know that the boats being blown up have a range of about 100 miles. They can't get to the U.S. They're 2,000 miles away. So all of these assumptions and all the things they're telling us, frankly, aren't true. They're invading America. It's self-defense. We have no idea if any of these boats are ever destined or any of the drugs, if there are drugs, are destined. We've been presented with no evidence. And there's a difference between war and peace. In war, you kill your enemies. But for the United States to go to war, we have to vote on it. No president can take us to war without the approval of Congress. Congress has to vote on it. Then you have war. Then you can kill whoever you want. There are still some rules of engagement in war, but it is a much more open process. But on the high seas, just because you are in the open seas doesn't mean we don't have due process. It's not the same as on land.
I agree that,
but we have always attempted to search boats because we're wrong 25% of the time. That's a lot of people to kill, innocent people, 25% of the time, just because we're guessing there are drugs on the boat.
And what I said is I never really believed that this was about drug interdiction or anything like that. I think there's a much larger scheme at play here, and that's why we're talking about Maduro and the regime and all that. I think it all just plays into that, and I don't believe that we're just blowing up these boats because they're bringing cocaine into the country. Senator, it's good to have you on. I appreciate your perspective. Always a good conversation.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Mamdani leading in the polls. Looks like he's going to be the next mayor of New York. But there are a lot of people in the Democrat Party that think this is a terrible idea, which makes you wonder how he got so far. It's coming up.
Is there any way that can work?
No. No, of course not.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.
A peace plan for Gaza. For the plan to advance, Hamas must disarm. Instead,
tonight, terrifying images emerging from Gaza. Videos show Hamas-linked gunmen carrying out a public execution as they return to the streets.
Hamas on a rampage, executing Palestinians, bloody crackdown, spreading terror. For freedom, not terror, Hamas must go.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
You'll find them in cities, towns, and suburbs all across America. Millions of people who have Medicare and Medicaid but may be missing benefits they could really use. Extra benefits they may be eligible to receive at no extra cost. And if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be able to get extra benefits too through a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan. These plans have a $0 monthly plan premium. Call now to see if you qualify. With a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan, you could have doctor, hospital, and prescription drug coverage plus extra benefits in one convenient plan. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance. Get over $1,000 a year. That's $85 a month to help pay for covered over-the-counter items like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. Your allowance is conveniently loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend gets carried over to the next month. Ask us about all the items your allowance may cover. Plus, you could get other important benefits. All plans include dental coverage with $0 copays for covered preventive services, vision coverage, including eye exams, and a yearly allowance to use towards eyewear, and hearing benefits with routine hearing exams and coverage toward hearing aids. Plus, hundreds of prescriptions have a $0 copay, so you'll pay nothing for them all year long. And you'll have access to Humana's multiple large plan networks of doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies. Best of all, if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be eligible to enroll in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan right now. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call now to see if there's a plan in your area that could give you extra benefits. But now is the time. The annual enrollment period ends December 7th. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
You want to talk about things? Mandami, you want to talk about an aunt? My Aunt Annie. She was 57 years old on September 11th. She went to have a little birthday get-together that the office was giving her at the World Trade Center. She never came back. She's in the rubble there. My Aunt Annie, Riccaboni, Davi. All right? She's in the rubble there because of you, Mandami. And you're worried about your aunt getting a dirty look? What is that? You're an actor. Your mother's a director. You're a phony. You're a plant to move the communist Marxist agenda forward. And you're a liar.
Actor and singer Robert Davi there blasting Zoran Mamdani after the New York mayoral candidate cried, talking about his aunt being too scared to wear a hijab after 9/11. Talk about missing the mark. Robert Davi joins us now, sir. Good to have you back on.
Thank you, Rob.
This is a guy that he doesn't like this country. His mom said he's not very American at all. I think I agree with you. He's a plant. This is somebody that knows all the right things to say, is playing the card perfectly here to get in and then wreak havoc.
You know, we keep getting these Manchurian candidates from the left, from the Democratic, or used to be the Democratic Party, is now is the Manchurian Candidate Party, of these immigrants that come into the town that don't have really a connection to the United States. You know, look at Italian Americans and other immigrants, the Irish, the German, helped build the buildings in New York City. They helped create the topography of Manhattan, and they were proud. They had disagreements politically, but they were proud. This guy's not proud of America. He doesn't have any real connection to America beyond sucking off it. Now, even though he lives in a rent-controlled thing and he's wealthy, but like I said, he grew up as an actor. And I heard Mandy Patinkin hugging him and kissing him. And, I wonder if Mandy Patinkin would have done that in Nazi Germany. Because, look, nobody's Islamophobic. Nobody's racist. Nobody's any of this crap that they throw at us, Rob, to keep us from telling the truth to the people. But isn't there a thing in Sharia where you can lie? You can lie to the people to further what your agenda is. And this is where this guy's born in. This is the seed he comes from.
Yeah, I mean, we got a candidate that was, from Uganda, which, it's crazy to think that this is the person that and for some reason, the left in this country just runs towards people like this. The most risky, the most un-American candidate is the sexiest thing in the world to white liberals in this city. I don't know where the hell we went so wrong.
Well, I know where we went wrong. But first of all, I was talking to my friend Andrew, musician, great musician, piano. Tell me, all these musicians in New York, Andrew's Jewish, they're voting for Mandami. He goes, friends that he knew, they're voting for Mandami. Now, again, this is endemic to what happened in Manhattan, in America, in the educational institutions. Everybody is, again, he cried about his aunt, and that drove me off the wall. That's what really triggered me, because my aunt went in for her birthday that day. From Astoria, Queens. I was born in Astoria, Queens, Tony Bennett country. And this woman, this Mandami guy, it's just shocking that Schumer and Schiff and the whole Democratic Party needs to be flushed down the toilet. I'm sorry.
I don't disagree with you. I don't think many watching this program do. Robert Davi, good to have you on. Thanks for that and that video. We loved it. Performing at the Foxwoods Casino. Here fairly soon, January 31st, right there on the screen. You see it right there.
The Great American Songbook.
There you go. The Great American
With special guest Antonia Bennett, Tony's daughter, who comes from Astoria.
Robert, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Good
to see you. The 180 that Bill Gates pulled on climate change this week is surreal. Kari Lake next.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Get 35% off your first preferred set by using discount code Newsmax.
Vehicle breakdowns are costly, but with Endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a costly repair again.
They covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
Call right now to get $300 off any plan. Call now.
Last year, America's leading wireless provider spent $12 billion on advertising and promotions. That's billion with the B. Pure Talk? They hired me to make their commercials on my iPhone. Consequently, they can offer you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Yeah, you can keep paying for those billion-dollar ad campaigns if you want, or you can start saving some real money when you switch to Pure Talk. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Neuropoid is the only clinically proven nerve support product for burning, tingling, and numbness. Try our best-selling topical gel for near instant relief. Neuropoid is available at all major retailers, or you can find us at neuropoid.com.
Your bathtub is a problem. It's outdated and unsafe. The solution, a stunning new shower from Jacuzzi Bath Remodel, installed in as little as 1 day. Right now, call and Jacuzzi will waive all installation costs, and you won't make a payment for up to a year. Jacuzzi offers so many modern styles with luxurious features like soft closed doors. Jacuzzi delivers style and safety. Upgrade to an easy entry shower with a custom seat and durable grab shelves. Jacuzzi has been a trusted name for over 70 years, and that means quality. It is beautiful. You deserve a bathroom that's beautiful and safe. So don't wait. Call right now.
Call or go online now to jacuzzibathremodel.com for a limited time offer. We're waiving all installation costs, plus 0 interest and 0 payments for up to 1 year.
Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-384-3430.
A peace plan for Gaza. For the plan to advance, Hamas must disarm. Instead,
Tonight, terrifying images emerging from Gaza. Videos show Hamas-linked gunmen carrying out a public execution as they return to the streets.
Hamas on a rampage, executing Palestinians, bloody crackdown, spreading terror. For freedom, not terror, Hamas must go.
Total Beats Ultimate Heart Health is the newest innovation from America's best-selling Beats brand. Ultimate Heart Health contains a key ingredient clinically shown to deliver 2 times better blood pressure support, plus CoQ10 for even better heart health. Find Total Beats Ultimate Heart Health at Walmart today.
The existential threat of climate
change. Existential threat.
Climate is super important, but has to be considered in terms of overall human welfare. I didn't pick that position because it's a, everybody agrees with it.
So what we just heard, and there's more to it than that, is a shocking admission, a shocking about-face for the millions convinced that the world is going to end if we don't stop burning fossil fuels. One of the leaders of this charge has been Bill Gates, and he's basically admitting that, yeah, the world's not going to end because of climate change, and that all the chaos that they stirred up was just to scare people into voting Democrat, which is the basic admission of that, if you look at it further. And man, did it work. A 2024 Lancet study of Americans 16 to 25, majority very or extremely worried about climate change. Over half said they were hesitant to have kids because of their anxiety. There is a tremendous amount of climate angst in this country, all built up because Democrats needed a way to convince you to vote for their party and to scare you into doing it. Kari Lake is here to talk about that. It's amazing that this is just going to be admitted and that we're so supposed to just accept that after what they've done to this world with this scam.
What they've done, I mean, you think about what they did to the young generation who's so afraid that the world, can you imagine as a kid, every day in school you're hearing about the world's going to come to an end, the climate's going to be destroyed, they're not going to have clean air to breathe, et cetera, putting a lot of paranoia in our kids about this climate hoax. And then not to mention the trillions of dollars spent and the way that it was starting to destroy our economy and the United States. So finally he admits it. I think it's coincidental that a day ago, I think 24 hours ago, Chuck Grassley and the Senate Judiciary Committee announcing investigating Bill Gates Foundation for $23 million. I think it was that. Maybe it was even more than that in grant money given to the CCP. So I think he's in a lot of trouble right now. And he's watching, as we all are, as more and more documents are being declassified. When we get documents declassified on the climate hoax, he's probably trying to get ahead of what happens then.
Boy, I tell you what, I mean, it is unbelievable. It really an indication how far the left will go to win. We know they'll say anything. They'll scream fascist, they'll scream Nazi, they'll lie, they'll make you think the world is going to come to an end just to get your vote, to scare you into the polls. Kari Lake, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right, just 6 days until this election. New polling shows the Republican running for Attorney General in Virginia, Jason Miyares, is ahead of the Democrat psychopath who's also running for that position, ahead by 1 point in the latest poll. But there's something interesting going on. After Jay Jones suggested Virginia's former House Speaker, the Republican Todd Gilbert, deserved to be shot in the head, and also put in a message that his wife and kids should die as well, calling his children little fascists, revealing himself to be the most horrific Attorney General candidate in the history of Attorney General candidates. Is somebody supposed to, what, control the law? be like the top law enforcement officer in the state, and this is how he talks about people, wants to kill them? Well, even after that happened, federal employees, public schools, government officials are still donating to Jay Jones. Campaign finance records reviewed by the Washington Examiner show Jones receiving nearly $2 million in donations between October 1 and October 27th. That is wild. The Republican in the race, Jason Miyares, joins us now, and it's good to have you back on, sir. What is your reaction to the fact that there's still an apparatus to donate to this man, and it's doing quite well? I don't think anybody would have predicted that.
Well, listen, I think what we've seen is that my election in many ways become a referendum on decency, but there are those that are the far left that want to silence the voices of people they disagree with. We saw that with what happened with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And part of what makes this, I think, so shocking is I served in the General Assembly with Jay Jones and Todd Gilbert, the subject of this. And he knows Todd Gilbert, the person he wanted to put 2 bullets in a head. But even worse, he's met Jennifer, his wife. She would come down to the assembly with their children. He's met these kids. We would see them running in the hallways. So the idea that he wanted to put 2 bullets into Todd Gilbert just because he's a Republican, and that he'd want to see a mother with their children as young as 2 and 5 years old at the time that he sent these text messages die in their arms, it's just shocking. But this is a real husband and father that he's met, a real mother that he has met as well, and real children that he has seen. So that's what makes it so shocking. I think the legacy media in some ways has downplayed it in some ways.
Sure.
But the reality is the vast majority, we have outraised him in October because we are seeing that test of decency. Virginians and people around the country, they've gone to standwithjason.com, my website, to say no to this. But it is disappointing, obviously, to see those. Your number one job as Attorney General is to stop violence. I can't imagine somebody running for this job, wanting for violence against children. Well, and what's even worse, it's come out that as well that he told a colleague that he hoped to see cops die because maybe if a few cops die, they would change how they do policing. So we've never had anybody run to be the top prosecutor, the top cop of the state of Virginia, who wants to see cops die and children die in their mother's arms.
My whole point was that I think it should be disqualifying. If that's your position, if you've said things like that, how can you be an attorney general? Because I would imagine that if somebody came to your state and murdered a cop or murdered a Republican, that your attorney general would probably say, I don't think we should charge that person. So how can that be your attorney general? I got to leave it there, Jason. I appreciate you coming on, running for attorney general. It's 6 days till the election. And, boy, I hope that Virginia knows how to make the right choice in that one. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Dave Portnoy calls out his own staff. Interesting story up next.
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. And if you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. These plans have a $0 monthly plan premium. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance. Get over $1,000 a year. That's $85 a month to help pay for covered over-the-counter items, like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. The Healthy Options allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. Call today to learn about all the items covered. You could have $0 copays on hundreds of prescriptions all year long, including select brand name drugs. All plans have $0 copays for covered preventive dental services, which include 2 free cleanings a year, as well as coverage towards fillings. They also have vision coverage, including vision exams and a yearly allowance towards eyewear, such as lenses or contacts. And hearing coverage, which includes routine hearing exams and coverage towards hearing aids. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now to speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. Wouldn't you love benefits like a monthly allowance? To help pay for covered over-the-counter items. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call the number on your screen now and speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. If you're eligible, they can even help enroll you over the phone in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan. And remember, annual enrollment ends on December 7th. So call now. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Mike Hammond from Signal Relief. Veterans have sacrificed so much for our freedom, and too many live in chronic pain from their service. We created the Signal Relief patch to make a real difference. We just want to thank you for your service and for the extraordinary sacrifices you've made to protect our freedoms. Whether you served or not, it has clinically been shown that 85% of our participants have felt or found relief. And it comes with a money-back guarantee. I will never forget the first wounded vet I gave a patch to. For the first time in years, he felt relief, and when he saluted, it brought me to tears. Join the hundreds of thousands who've experienced relief by purchasing a patch. If our technology can bring relief to a wounded vet, imagine what it can do for you. Trust me, the patch works.
Welcome back. Time now for News from the Left. The Fishbowl Podcast, one of several endeavors by Dave Portnoy to expand his Barstool brand to young girls. Well, they made a dumb mistake this week. The girls sitting there talking some serious trash about their own company.
In terms of this office, like if they were to do it in the same place, just a more condensed, homier version with less top lighting, harsh top lighting.
Yeah, a lot of harsh top lighting. I wouldn't mind a skylight. It would be really nice to have a room you could record in with lighting. And I know that sounds really crazy for a media company, but I do think that would be really nice.
Or maybe like one soundproof room. So whenever like a particularly angry Mets fan gets particularly angry.
And maybe that room's padded.
Well, the boss, Dave Portnoy, responding to the ungrateful hosts. You know, it would be crazy for a media company to have employees who haven't made a cent for the company in their entire careers just shut up and thank their lucky stars they still have a paycheck. To the very unlistened to Fishbowl Podcast. Thought that was funny. And finally, Pelosi actually claiming the heavily foreign-funded No Kings protests were totally organic.
You saw a march that was not political, and the value of it was that it wasn't political. No King's Day. It was spontaneous, organic.
Yeah, funded by international left-wing entities like Arabella, controlled by people like Hungarian Bond villain George Soros. Very organic, Nancy. Next up, a political stunt to up her Q rating just landed one dumb Dem in huge trouble.
Closed captioning brought to you by MagnaLife Arnica Pain Relief Gel. Great for arthritis pain.
Your pain is real. Listen to what real customers have to say about using MagnaLife Arnica Pain Relief Gel. The pain was gone in under 3 minutes. My miracle in a jar.
Available at your local retailer.
As Israel suffers attacks on 7 different fronts, it's her poor and elderly who are barely making it through each day.
The tears are from the pain of the life that she's lived. She's a survivor of Auschwitz. The years that they would just beat her, years that she didn't have food and felt hungry.
She paid a horrible price to come home from Ethiopia. She lost in that journey her 6-year-old son. A couple of weeks later, she lost her family. She is a wonderful woman She is very poor.
I pray that we answer these cries, and our answer is love.
With a gift of only $25, you'll deliver a life-saving food box into the hands of an elderly Jew in need.
She's saying people have a heart. There are good people today.
Call, scan, or go online now, and the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews will rush your food box today.
Hallelujah. This is a holy moment. What you're doing is not simply being kind. You are prophetically stepping into the scriptures and being part of their redemption and our own.
This is a holy calling, and it's our chance to bless God's people. In a world where Israel is under attack, Christians can help fulfill biblical prophecies through practical support and genuine friendship.
For everything you are doing, thank you. It's perfect.
This is what a simple food box does.
You can bring joy, hope, and love to someone praying for your help today. So please, call, scan, or go online now.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at GetTrumpWatches.com. These make a great gift. It's Trump time.
A peace plan for Gaza. For the plan to advance, Hamas must disarm. Instead,
tonight, terrifying images emerging from Gaza. Videos show Hamas-linked gunmen carrying out a public execution as they return to the streets.
Hamas on a rampage, executing Palestinians, bloody crackdown, spreading terror. For freedom, not terror, Hamas must go.
For plant-based, healthy blood pressure support, there's one brand at Walmart that stands above the rest. It's Super Beets by Human. Discover why Super Beets is the #1 cardiologist-recommended beet brand for heart health support at your nearest Walmart today.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
Finally tonight, Illinois Democrat congressional candidate indicted for blocking and vandalizing ICE facilities outside Chicago, vehicles outside an ICE facility in Chicago. You can see her there in the video, the stunt to get more attention for a primary race, landing this Palestinian congresswoman, or would-be congresswoman, 2 federal charges. She's calling it a political prosecution. Take a listen.
This is a political prosecution and a gross attempt to silence dissent. And because Chicago doesn't back down from bullies in masks who tear gas our neighborhoods, this administration has resorted to weaponizing the federal justice system to scare us into silence.
Right. Finnerty is up next. She wanted some attention to get a big name so she can run for Congress. Now she's facing federal charges.
You're breaking the law. You're pushing federal law enforcement officers. By the way, all this for criminal, illegal aliens. Again, we can't say that enough. They want to keep criminals in this country, which just doesn't make any sense.
Surreal. Good to see you.
Thanks, Rob.